Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pursuing Excellence podcast. I'm your host Jay Gay, and today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about conformity and the evils of it and how it has really plagued our youth and our world and our community right now. And it's a big thing that we all struggle with, and I think it's just something I want to touch on. We're seeing a lot more of it now, particularly in the youth, but really in all ages platforms as well. But before we get into that, I just want to make sure, guys, please subscribe, like, share, comment. You guys know the drill. We're doing well right now with the podcast. Been doing this for over a year now, so we got to keep going strong. Make sure you guys please subscribe, comment, like, share posts. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite podcast. All right. So guys, what I want to touch on today was primarily the evil of conformity. Now, as human beings, we have the tendency to try to, conform to the world and do whatever is popular, right? Or, like we've all, like as kids, if one kid gets a new pair of shoes, and like, oh, well, we want those shoes, right? Or, something, vice versa, if we get something, then, another kid's like, okay, yeah, I want that too, right? So it's just an all big connected circle, and I think the big problem with that is we're not being true to ourselves and true to God also. There's a big problem within that I'm going to touch on here, because God created us all to be unique and special in our own way, right? In the world over time, as we've evolved as human beings, we've set trends, and we set, as time has gone by, new things have been processed and invented in our world, right? And new things have become popular now, like we've gone through different eras of clothes and technology and, how we communicate, talking to people, those different things, right? So I think the big problem that we're having is we feel pressured to do everything the way the world says we're supposed to do it, right? Or do everything how the world says we're supposed to do it. But that's where the issue is. We as human beings, we're all subject to what we believe and what we think is right, because we have free will, and we live in a country where we have freedom of speech and freedom of religion and those types of things, right? It's all in the Constitution, right? So I think the big thing for us as humans is we need to stick true to ourselves, and we need to not conform to the world and, be pressured into doing things that, we don't think is right, or, but we want to do it because it's popular, things like that. Right. And it all trends back to the Bible and God's word, and telling us, in Romans 2:12, he says, do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Now, I really like that verse because he's talking about in that specific verse, don't be pressured into what the world is trying to get you to do, but really, be changed and transformed by, how your mind works in the word of God and what you believe is right, what you think is right. Don't let the world tell you what you're going to do, because at the end of the day, we all have a brain. The world doesn't think for us. We think for ourselves, right? If you don't like something, you don't like it, and somebody else tells you, that you like that. Well, how would you know? You're not in that body. You're not in that person's body. You're not in that person's mind. You're not in that person's soul. So I think that's the big key with what we're having issues with right now, as people, and it's really leading to problems in our world as well. People are, dying over simple things like that because they're not doing what the world is wanting them to do, or what people are pressuring them into, or, persuading them to do, whether it's right or wrong, right? So if somebody doesn't want to do something, they shouldn't be forced to do it. We all have a mind. We can think for ourselves. God created us all. I don't know what you guys, but, everybody's their own different beliefs, but for me personally, I'm a Christian. I believe in Christ. He's my savior. So I think that we were all created with a purpose in life. We were all created with free will and the ability to think and move and reason for ourselves. Our mind stimulates things, and our mind processes things to the point where, you have a discernment of whether something is right or wrong. Like, if you go to a gas station at night or whatever, and like you're getting bad vibes, like, oh man, I shouldn't be here, then you probably should get out of there. Right. Or if you say you see some food that somebody made and you're like, I don't know about that, right? Then you probably shouldn't eat that food. I mean, it's not like these things are just, your mind is just telling you these things for no reason. There's a reason for that, and I just think it's the same way with things in our world, that we have a problem. We have a problem of doing things with how people want us to do it and not the way, we want to do ourselves, how we want to get better, right? Everybody has their own goals and has their own mindset on what they want to be in life, what they want to do in life, right? So, everybody has different paths to that, whether it's you want to be a professional basketball player or a professional football player, or you want to be, you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or, whatever the case may be in your life. You want be a rich tech mogul, right? Anything, right? But the point of it is you have your own path and your own way of getting to that point in life, right? At the end of the day, you're the one that puts in the work. You're the one that, you're the one that goes to college, or, you're doing the work. It's your grades, or you're the one that goes to your job and you do your specific job, right? Nobody else does it for you. So at the end of the day, why should you listen to what other people are telling you to do, or what they think you should do? Well, I think you should do this. Well, but why? Why? Why aren't you telling yourself what you need to do? That's the big thing we have. And as people, and we're all guilty of this. We've all done it before. We've all been pressured by other people or other things to do things, to act or talk or whatever in a certain way, that maybe we're not comfortable with. Everybody's guilty of it, so, for example, just because you don't dress or eat or talk or look a certain way, then the world might look at you like, in a certain position, in a certain way. They might think of you as, weird or whatever the case might be, right? But that's not, that doesn't make you any less of a human, whether you do something that's a trend that's been set in the world right now in society. Just because society is doing this one way and you're doing it the other way, then, that doesn't mean you are any different or any less of a human being than they are, right? We're all the same. We're all human beings at the end of the day. We look different, but at the end of the day, we all bleed red, and we're all here for a reason, so that's just what I believe. I think we're having a problem with right now, just being persuaded, to do things that are, that aren't right and what we don't think is right. For example, if you say you want to start your own business and somebody tells you, first off, I think this, if you're going to do something, don't tell people about it. If you feel like you want to start a t-shirt business or a clothing line, or you want to, I don't know, whatever the case may be, don't mention your plan to people or whatever you want to do, because they're going to try to figure out a way to make it negative or make it seem like it's not. Well, man, I don't know about that. Maybe you should do this, and then you're like, oh, right. Instead of just going, taking action to doing it yourself. Nobody told me to start a podcast. It's something I wanted to do to help people and to inform and to, get different perspectives of different people in the world and society. That's why I started this podcast. Nobody told me to do it. I wasn't forced to do it or any if any means like that, right? Just think, it's just something I wanted to do, so that ties all back to what you feel like your purpose is in life, or what you want to do or how you want to do it. That's you are in control of your life. You are in control of what you do and how you do it, when you do it, why you do it. That's all controlled by you. Nobody else controls that, but our world has a tendency to make it seem like if you don't do things a certain way, then you are an outcast or something like that, right? We've all seen, and it gets distorted to a little point, but like in popular media, in the TV shows and the movies, right? You got the different hierarchies of a school, like in the movies, like it's where you got the jocks, right? Then you got the popular kids, whatever, the jocks, the popular kids, and then you got the nerds, right? The bottom, of the hierarchy, right? So who's to say the nerds can't go, do whatever the jocks can do or the popular kids can do, right? We separate ourselves into unnecessary categories as people in society, and it's really troubling because we're, in a sense, limiting ourselves to what we're capable of, and we know we're much more capable than what we already perceive ourselves to be. It's just a matter of going out there and and just going into work and trying to see what you could do, but we always set limits and holds on ourselves. Well, there people are doing this way, so might as well just do it this way, when there could be multiple ways to do this certain thing, but you just haven't explored that yet because you're only focused on what society and the community is telling you, in the way they're telling you to do this, wherever the case may be, whether it's how you dress, right? People, everybody has their own sense of fashion. Like I said, we all have our own mind. We think how we want to think. We do what we want to do, so it shouldn't, nobody else should influence what you want to do and why you want to do it, or why you want to dress like this, or wherever you buy your clothes, right? At the end of the day, or somebody else might buy them for you, but then you still wear them. You put them on, so you have to like it, right? So if you don't like it, or a car, if you see a nice car you want, but somebody else say, "Oh, nah, you can't drive that, man. I can't see you driving that, man. That's not your type of car." Well, how would you know? He's like, "Are you me?" No, you're not. So if you like that car, but they don't like that car, well, they can, whatever. If you want that car, go buy that car, go drive that car, because at the end of the day, you're the one that your hands are on the steering wheel. You control where that car goes, how fast it goes, where it goes. That's your car. And that's the same thing with life. This is our life, and we're handed the keys to our life right now. God gave us the keys to our life, and it's up to us what we do with it, and we all have to figure, and that's something that we all have to figure out still. Not everybody knows that already. That's something that we have to figure out as we move on throughout life. But the biggest thing is, if you conform to what Satan and the world is telling you to do, that you won't be able to truly find yourself. I feel like, you'll be limited to what you're capable of, what the abilities you might have. We have our own specific talents. We all have our own specific talents, wherever they might be. Some people might be good at math. Some people might be good at basketball. Some people might be good at accounting, or whatever it might be. Some people may be, really smart, or it could be. There's numerous things, but at the end of the day, everybody has their own specific talent and abilities that make them who they are and that make them good. So it's just what you do with those talents and those abilities, and what you think is right, not what the world tells you is right. We all scroll through, and social media plays a big role in this as well. We scroll through Instagram, you're seeing people, doing TikTok challenges, or whatever the case may be, or, well, if you don't do this, then everybody's got to do this or that, like, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. At the end of the day, it's your life. You control your own life. Like I mentioned earlier, you control your own life. Nobody else on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, or anywhere else in the world controls what you do except for you. You're the only one with control of your own mind. We haven't reached the point where we can control other people's minds, or that, like some sci-fi stuff. That's not real. At least right now it isn't. Right? Everybody controls their own personality, their own soul, their likes and their own dislikes. Right? You have your own mind. Use it. It's as simple as that. I just feel like as humans, we overcomplicate things and we make things harder than they need to be. And at the end of the day, it's just your decision. You have to sit down and you have to discern what is right, what is wrong, or if this is good, this is bad. If you like it or if you don't like it. So I just think that's the biggest problem we have with conforming to the world and not being changed for the good by our own mind, our own actions, discerning what we have to do, what's best for us. The only person that knows what's best for you is you. Nobody else does. They can tell you that they do, but at the end of the day, they don't. Right. A football coach can tell his player, well, I think you'd be best at this position, right? Or whatever the case may be, or this or that. Right. But at the end of the day, if you know you're not, and you can't do this certain thing or play this certain position or whatever the case may be, then you can't, or you won't. So I just think that's the biggest problem that we all face as men, as people, men, and especially in society. We tend to be threatened, or we feel that our masculinity is threatened if we don't act or do things a certain way. But at the end of the day, if you just do what you feel like you're called to do, what God's telling you to do, how God's telling you to live, then you're fine. There's no need to be pressured or conform to what the world is telling you to do. There's no need to do that. So I just think conformity is a big evil that we have in this world that not many people talk about. And it's something really to put your mind on. Think about the next time that somebody said, hey man, come on, it's all right. We can do this. We won't get caught or whatever the case may be. Think about it. Really sit there and think about it. Do I really want to do this? Was this really going to help me in the long run? Is this going to benefit myself? How is this going to help me? Is this going to hurt me? Or whatever the case may be. Or if somebody's telling you, hey, I think you should do this. Now, are you going to listen to that person because they said I need to do it and I need to do it, right? It's another opinion. Well, ask yourself, do you really want to do that? Or do you really think that you should do this certain thing? Just something to think about. I just believe that we really have a problem in this world with peer pressure. It's a term that's used a lot, like especially in school or wherever, in life in general, right? Well, don't be peer pressured into doing these things. And it's, it's a cliche, but it's really true. It is true. Again, you have your own mind, right? You have your own brain. So use it, at the end of the day, you make your own decisions. Nobody's controlling you like a puppet. Nobody controls you. You control what you do at the end of the day. You make your decisions. You decide to get up in the morning. You decide to brush your teeth. You decide to shower. You decide to drive to school or to work or whatever. You decide to do whatever you do. You decide to do a podcast here. You decide to, be a personal trainer, whatever it might be, right? All of those things are your own decisions. Nobody is controlling you or stimulating you to do those things except for yourself. Just something to think about. That's what I wanted to talk about today on the podcast, guys. Just something that's been plagued and, it's been coming up in the world right now and the times we're in. It's just really important to really know our own worth and stay true to ourselves. So thank you guys for listening to Pursuing Excellence podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends, family. You guys know the deal. You guys can tune back in next time. Thank you.